says off air.
There we go.
Ah, live.
We are live. Live. I think I got her figured now. Broadcasting. Technical difficulties. Okay, what do we got here? First, all these buttons are working for us. I'll go over to Facebook and say we're live. We're live. Come join us. It's free. Oh. Test 1 2. Get yourself something to drink.
Yeah, I'm good.
Sandy. It says for Loa. Oh. Still waiting for some people to jump on. I know it's going to be a little bit, but. Come on, people. Unsubscribe. All right. Within the first 5 minutes, and then we'll just carry on without them till we get on.
So I can hear you, but the screen is frozen. Is that just because you haven't activated?
Am I froze?
Yeah, I can't. You're just, yeah, you're frozen. Ah, there.
There we go. All right, come on, people. This is for them. We're live. Building. 2, 1. I just went live here on Facebook, so we'll see.
Okay.
Get some people's attention. Everyone. We are test 1 2. Boom. We got one guy liked it. Right on. Hey, Tom. You guys want to check out? I see you just joined in here. I'm live now. 2 people watching. We get some. Hey, Kenny, how you doing? Trying to get some people to join on this workshop that I got going on here. If you want to look at all, move around. This is what it is. Basically, what happens is I have a lady here waiting on standby. She is a professional resume builder, so if you guys want, click on that button so we can get started here. And if you want to learn how to build a resume, maybe you even got a resume, you want to learn maybe something that you're not putting on there that may not be getting you that job. So if you all want, click in the link below where I got that resume jam or webinar jam. And you'll be able to join in on the conversation. As much as I'd love to do like this, show you my partner in crime here tonight for this webinar. Miss Casey. Come on, everybody, check on into this webinar. It's free. You don't have to pay anything to come and join, watch, and learn. Something that we're putting on for you. So, be able to join in on the conversation. Let me know. Be able to pull you out on here maybe if you're on a computer standing by doing nothing. Hey, Mervin. Hey, Paul. Check out this platform that I got going on here, guys. Got 10 people watching here. So what I'd like to do is utilize the platform that I bought. Cost me quite a bit of money to put on here so everybody can message and be part of this, basically a platform here to utilize people like a hangout. So, hey, Cami, Trevor, you're here. Jeremy, you're on the. We got a couple of viewers here in the bottom, as you can see. 11. I don't know if maybe I can do this for a bit. I'm gonna go introduce myself. Get down on your bum. Say hi. Say hi. That's my partner in crime here tonight. Mom's at work, so let's start this off here, Teresa. I'll do this for a little bit, and then I'll stop the play feed on Facebook Live, and if they want, they can still click that button and join. So
sounds good.
I'm gonna let you introduce yourself here, and then we'll go from there. Are you there?
Me, yeah.
Yeah. How about you introduce yourself there, and then we can go.
Oh, you want me to go now? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Teresa Shea, and I'm the owner of YMF Writing Services. I'm a professional resume builder, and I've done professional writing for about 20 years. I've done everything from editing to teaching to writing, and I've had all kinds of different jobs in between. So this is kind of a recent move for me to be with YMF, as I'm always looking for that work family life balance, right? So I'm doing a bit more freelance work, and that's fitting in really well. So what I like about doing resumes is I think that people don't always sell themselves very well, and so I'm kind of the crow who looks for the shiny bits. So I try to find something that stands out about each client. Sometimes people don't really know what makes them shine. So that's my job, and I enjoy doing it. I can't hear you, Chad.
There you go. I got to unmute myself.
Oh, there.
So I appreciate that you take time out of your busy schedule here to join us here and help us. You know, there's a lot of we say shiny parts of people's jobs that not necessarily a lot of people capitalize on their resumes, and like you say, that's what you do is listen to a lot of people, what they've done and where they've been, and put it all into a polished resume. Is that right?
Exactly, and I try to make them look really professional because employers have a lot of resumes coming across their desks. So if something looks professional, I think it gets a little bit of an extra look, and it's worth having that extra look in these, you know, in these times.
No, for sure, for sure. So what we got going on here, guys, is if you're just joining us now, and I know on Facebook Live here, I'm going to be holding this phone as I am for a little bit, and then I'm going to stop the live feed here. If you want to continue on watching and join in the conversation, as you see down in here, you guys can continue on asking questions and whatnot. We'll be able even to pull you out on this main screen and be able to share your screen and show you what you're doing right or wrong to be able to help you build that resume. So I know with this time here coming so close to Christmas, a lot of people are looking, and from what I've heard in my experience, are looking for the new year. I know a lot of jobs are out there right now, but from what I've heard in my industry, a lot of these new projects are starting the new year. So it'd be great to get your resume looked at. Maybe you haven't even built a resume before, or have a resume built, but just want to know, what other people's look like and compare, or yet, that's why Teresa's here, is to help you refine that and obviously offer her services in the end to be able to help you get on the right track for that potential job in the new year. So really appreciate you coming on here tonight, Teresa, and we'll make the best out of this, and hopefully a lot of people get some value out of this. So
Yeah, no, it'd be good. I'm happy to be here and answer any questions.
okay, so let's start off with the first thing is what does a employer look for when you send a resume? Is it something that possibly like a cover letter? Is that very important, or the subject line, or the font size? What's that all about?
Well, I think it depends on the job you're applying for, and there's some kind of debate about whether or not you need a cover letter when you're applying for trade jobs, and so I think that's a personal decision. But I think definitely they're looking for something to be polished. So you want to make sure that there's no spelling mistakes. You want to make sure that all of your contact information is up to date. You want to make sure that whatever email you give, that's the one that you're checking. You want to make sure that the font, that there's some consistency in it. You want to make sure your margins are all the same. So you just want it to look professional. Those are some of the small details that really stand out when something comes across and it's polished and it looks good. The less work an employer has to do reading your resume, the better it is. So if they're having to weed through mistakes and weed through, I think this is what they mean, then you're causing more work for them.
What about for, say, emails here? Because I know a lot of people have different types of emails. I guess if somebody had, say, a cool monkey at Hotmail or Gmail, is that really something that you'd want to send resumes off to? Is it something that maybe you want to look at starting a different Gmail account or Hotmail account to better, your business, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's a really good comment. I sometimes tell clients that it's worthwhile starting a new email account, a Gmail account that is more professional. Yeah, you don't want the sexy email, or you don't necessarily want something that's got your birth date in it either. Sometimes people will have their date of birth. So you don't want anything that's identifying your date of birth. You don't want something that signals that you're a party animal. So just even if you can have your name, period, the first name, period, last name at Gmail. And then again, you have to remember that you're using it, and you have to remember to check it. So yes, being professional, that is a good point. Making sure that your email is not something that's too wild.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I notice here in my experience as well, I know in our industry, a lot of people are looking for local guys. So is this something that you want to put, say your address on? Because I know a lot of people looking for local guys, and I know myself personally, I've started taking my address off of there just because of that factor.
Right. No, that is a good point, and I think that's why even if you just have a phone number and a Gmail or an email account, then that will definitely help, because that is a good point if you know in advance. But sometimes you can address that in your resume, especially if you're working at camps or something, that you're ready and willing to to travel, and that that's part of the job. A lot of people are moving from place to from contract to contract. So it seems to me in that in the oil field industry that can be a pretty common occurrence. But if you do know that they're looking for local people, then maybe omitting your address, as long as you do have, give some contact information.
I know I seen in the group here, I have some new people coming into the workforce and some older guys as well, trying to figure out what to put on their resume as far as dumbing it down, as per se. I myself here, I have at least 3-4 different resumes to signify what profession that I'm going to go into, whether or not I'm going to be a heavy equipment operator or a pipe fitter or a supervisor or an inspector or what have you. So what is the significance in building a resume tailored to the job that you need to apply?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that if you are just starting out, so if you're new and say maybe just out of high school even, then you're going to have probably fairly slim work experience. So you have to make sure that you do put things down that probably are more about your character traits, that you're trustworthy, you are extremely disciplined, you're hardworking, you're motivated, you have good people skills, people like you work well as a team. That even if you say that you are have good fitness, things like that. Sometimes it seems really really small, but it does matter. Once you've had more work experience, sometimes what happens is people are overqualified for positions, but they really need a job. In that instance, sometimes it is useful to remove some of the things that you've done so that you maybe are not looking as so that you don't appear overqualified for the job. So for instance, I actually have a PhD, but some of the jobs I apply for, I know they won't look at me if I put I have a PhD. They'll think that I'm overeducated. I might have more experience than the boss. They'll think I'm not going to stick around. So I have taken that. I've taken my degrees off, depending on the job that I'm applying for. So I think to be savvy is good, and that usually happens for people who've had more work experience.
Mm-hmm. I notice as well here, like a big question is that I always look at: did you complete high school or graduate and stuff? Is that more pertinent to say the people that are coming into the industry to know that the micro commitments that yes, you did graduate from high school, compared to a guy who's been in the industry for 20 years? It's not really relevant that he's graduated high school. It's been did he go to post-secondary school and all this stuff? But what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think if you've been working for 20 years, I don't think they're gonna look at your work experience, not your education. If you're right out and you're just getting started and you do have a high school diploma, I think it's worth putting down, because that might separate you. So really what you're looking for in a resume is to put down information that might give you a leg up on somebody else. I mean, you and I both know that many of the jobs that you do, they don't require high school diploma. I mean, really. However, if you're next to somebody who doesn't have a high school diploma, they might say, wow, this shows that this guy, didn't drop out of school, that maybe he's got that commitment to finish his education before he works. You could spin it that way, right? Mm-hmm. And certainly, I mean, there was a time when lots of young men were leaving school because they knew they wanted a job in the trades, and there were lots of jobs to be had. So they just, why defer what I know I'm going to do? So many men working in the trades don't have high school diplomas, but once you get that job experience, I don't think it's really necessary.
No, for sure. What about say everybody here? I appreciate you guys joining here. I'm holding this up. Looks like we got quite the live feed going on here. I'm not going to knock this down here for now. If you guys really want to, join this, I'd be really appreciative if you join in the workshop here, and that way we can continue further into depth on what we're going to do and build our resume together, and a few more tricks and trades that Teresa's told me here in our last little conversation. That's really going to help a lot of people out in the big do's and don'ts here as far as even social media stuff. So if you guys would appreciate checking out till for now, and for the ones that want to try to join or repost, just repost or take the post that's out of Facebook, that webinar jam. You'll be able to join it right now and get in on this action here. So I appreciate you guys joining me live for now, and we'll see you on the inside. Bye for now. Ending live video. Boom. So it gives everybody a post, a little taste of what's going on here. We had this Pamela Farmer. Do you have to? Do you have high settings or try to stay on the public profile? Okay, well, I don't have the share option, and I have snap a pic and repost. Gotcha. Here, well, I'm going to hold us here for a second, and boom. Copy this post and reshare. Okay. I like this technology. I think we got off to a great start here. Appreciate that. I know the questions are probably a lot of myself, even including want to know the answers to. Let's see here if I can screen share. I'm going to screen share what I have on the go just to give you an idea what I've built. This is back in 2009. You can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this here in my I remember going to a resume lady back. It was like a government building. I think that was when I first thought about really getting a resume together, because it's quite often a lot of people didn't even need a resume or even knew how to build one. So, I did get some help and kind of putting things into perspective on your objective to gain full-time employment with a competitive company, which allows me to earn their respect and become an asset to them or their well-filled representatives. Given my skills, I'm a self-motivated person who appreciates the challenge of overcoming obstacles. I find the positive in any situation, enjoy working both as a team player and on my own. I possess excellent communication skills, both written and oral, and I'm a skilled organizer and problem solver with the ability to consider all options before making a decision. And I'm good-humored and enthusiastic under pressure. And I think that's a pretty good, little bit here, whether or not you think it's full of crap or not.
Well, see, this is the thing. When you're like on paper, I think if I were to give like my biggest piece of advice is try to describe yourself as like your best friend would describe you, right? Because sometimes it's like if you ever go someplace and someone toasts you or something, they'll say all these things about you, and you'll just think, oh my God, who is he talking about, right? So if you can just imagine your best friend and like you're someone who's really backing you and supports you, what they would say about you, then try to free yourself from having that critic saying, oh yeah, right, like I'm good-humored and enthusiastic under pressure, sure.
Yeah, no, I can hear you there. As far as it's the work, like this one here is only a couple pages. Is it important to have the references on there as well?
No, I think you can say references available upon request, because sometimes people are using references. Like, you have to be careful. The best time to get a job or to look for a job is when you already have one. Because then you're not desperate. So sometimes people have jobs that it's not even that they're unhappy, but they hear about something and think, oh, what the heck, I'm gonna send it out there and see if it's, see what comes of it. So you don't want people who you don't necessarily want your references knowing that you're looking for a job, because if somebody wants your references, they will contact you, and then you'll know whether they're serious or not. So, like if you might apply for 5 jobs before someone's serious, so why have those references possibly? I think it makes the employer really just check, and especially if you have job history and you've worked in a number of places, it's and you say references are available. You're not saying that no one's going to speak well on your behalf. So you're basically telling them if they're serious, I'll be serious too. So I think that's fine.
Yeah. Now, I think what I progressed from is a 2009. I went all the way up a few different years, and I think what I did was just kind of refined here. We'll share again. Uh, 14 maybe. There we go. So I did put a logo of mine, facility inspections, yeah, kind of the same thing. But I think as I progress further, I kind of shorten the objective just to gain employment with a competitive company as a valued and respected oilfield representative. Self-motivated, yada, yada. I'm confident in poised interactions and with individuals at all levels, and kind of highlighting that I've been in the industry for 18 years at that time. Quite comfortable with adapting to change here, and just really short form quoting the places where I've worked. You know, but it still ended up being like 5 pages long here.
Well, see, and I can tell you, like, just looking at this, and I would edit this, and you've got far too much white space there. So you could, so it's 5 pages because you've got far too much white space. So you could easily extend the margins. You could also easily reduce some of the spacing there, and you can also change some of the font size. So so depending on the job you're applying for, like obviously if something happened and you were in hard straits and you were applying for something that wasn't requiring much training, you wouldn't send in a 5-page resume.
For sure.
Right? Yeah, you would use one of your more, you know, less filled one. But yeah, and that's the thing about having a resume. You can have your basic resume, but then you can have one that contains more. And I think once you start a resume, even if you've just got a draft, for anybody out there, make sure that you update it from time to time. Because if you suddenly need a resume and you haven't updated it, it's a lot of work to try and remember dates and to remember names of places and to get the addresses and all that kind of stuff, right? So if you can just keep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say to keep a running history of where you've worked and the names of the places and the dates will make changing your resume and updating it so much easier.
Thank you. Yeah. Come here. Well, you can color with a color. What about? I guess is it like you're saying? It's. Thank you. Thank you. Yours, okay. What about, I guess, like keeping track of when you stopped and started at different places? Is that really a big key for a lot of people, or is it just general?
Well, I think sometimes it is. If it's the kind of thing that your work history shows that you're only at a place for like 2 months at a time, it might be because of just contract and you finish the contract. And I think you need to find a way to be able to say that, right? To say contract ended. Otherwise, you don't. You might give the impression that you're just job hopping. So, but certainly, if you've been at a place for a while, you say the starting date, and then you say that you're, still, September 2014 to present, and then you can address that you're a loyal worker who's been, who doesn't, who stays with companies,
Gotcha. Okay, so going forward here, as I think it might progress, this is my latest here resume. I did get it from another fella here, obviously talking to a colleague and such, and looking at their resume and stuff, and I've noticed quite a bit change, obviously, from mine to this one now.
Yeah.
And how they've really, summarize their competencies and all that stuff, and then
and see how they really use the page well there, right? Look at all the information they got there under the summarized competencies. So that's an excellent way, because you need to think about your employer. Really, people just skim things nowadays. This is a really easy way to get out your skills without asking too much of them.
See, myself, you're looking at it, I don't almost feel lost when I'm looking at it. That's why, in my personal opinion, on the other was just where you worked and how long. And you would think the person that's doing the hiring for, say, inspecting role or whatever, that, okay, yes, you've done some, facilities or some single batteries, pipelines, yada, 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 and that's the way you went. But, I think a lot of, I guess, in the corporate end here, maybe a lot of people are looking for this kind of stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, and yes, possibly. And I would have to look at it more closely, because I think one of the mistakes that people make on their resumes is that they put down every single thing that they've ever done at every job, even if those duties are repetitive. So if you've done the same thing in your last 3 jobs, don't just cut and paste the same things in 3, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So you have to figure out with each job that you list, try and put down, focus on something that is different or has built on. Don't just repeat. I see that so often. They'll just have the same duties under the last 5 jobs. It's like, well, I didn't need to read that 5 times.
Exactly. No, for sure. So there's just a little insight on what mine goes. I know I do have references on there because it's on request, but a lot of them, it seems like they really want to know if you're in this, depends on where you're at working, I guess,
Right.
of who you know, and that is a big key to a lot of jobs out there is who you know.
Well, it is. And, you know, and I should say, especially if you're out of work, it might be very good to put references down, because then you're not, there's no conflict of interest there. And certainly a lot of people get work based on who they know. So networking is huge. So,
and another thing to add in there is always double check with that person that you're going to use as a reference, so they don't get blindsided. Because I know I do personally, I call that person up and say, do you mind if I could use your reference? Because a lot of people that you may think, you know, that would allow you, maybe not so certain that they want you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've had that happen where somebody's called me for a reference and I've been utterly blindsided. And, you know, I liked the person and I tried not to have the surprise sound in my voice, but I thought, oh, bad move. You should have let me know in advance, because I would have actually spoken better of you, because I wouldn't have been just caught on the spot. So that absolutely let your references know. Also, sometimes you might be surprised because people, you know, sometimes we think people are going to speak well of us. And if they say, in fact, I can't at this moment, it's better to know now than to have them possibly not say something beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk a little bit about the importance of social media here. I know I talked about it a little bit before, and we talked a lot before on the last little webinar that we had, the importance of, you know, the etiquette. You know, a lot of people are looking at it. We all know people when we're hiring and they have time to go through resumes now, because jobs are, let's just face it, jobs are skinny now, and we have more people to choose from. It wasn't like before where we had so many jobs and and you know, it didn't matter if you had you drew your resume with a crayon. As long as you had your tickets, you could go to work. But now they're more stringent on who they're picking, and really watching that social media factor. Can you elaborate a little bit for us?
Yeah, definitely. I think these days employers are pretty quick to just take a scan. You know, you can so easily just plug somebody's name in and see what activity they might have been up to. A lot of times people don't have proper privacy settings on their social media, so their comments might be way more public than they think. All you need to do is have one friend in the field like it, then it goes to that entire friend's contacts. So basically, if you're on social media, you got to watch your P's and Q's, because companies do not want to get labeled. They don't want to hire people who are not socially aware. There's a lot of things going on now that companies don't want to be associated with.
Oh, for sure. Like I know a lot of people I've had contact with, is a lot of people either get laid off from that company and want to really vocalize their feelings and say the names of the companies, and I've had to delete comments and such, and private message them privately saying, you know, as much as your discomfort or hurt about being let go from this company, you know, going that route could potentially further hurt you down the road, because now you're publicly bashing a company that, you know, whether or not it was the right choice to lay you off, fire you, whatever the case, it's going to help or jeopardize you from getting a job from another company that, you know, if you get scorned, you're going to do the exact same thing to us. So.
Right. No, that you definitely, with any kind of job related information, you need to make sure you're not slagging your employers or slagging your coworkers too. And I think especially for young people, that instant messaging stuff that you can say, oh, I hate my boss, or he's such a this, or my coworker's an idiot. You really have to watch that. In fact, I know people who just recently had to fire a couple of people from their company because they'd left their instant messaging on their computer, and somebody came in and saw that they were saying horrible things about the boss and one of their coworkers, and boom, they were gone that day. So there's that, but also Alberta has a pretty, divisive political scene sometimes. So you just got to be careful what you're saying online, simply because many people have access to it. And if you're looking to work and you're looking to be, to do honest work, you want to make people think well of you. So
sure.
yeah. So that's a big deal. So really, just be careful.
I know myself here, I've had to bite my social media tongue a lot on a lot of different cases that you see that get floated around the internet. And that's one of the main reasons, because I did have that in my head that, I mean, whether or not it's freedom of speech or expression or whatnot, how many people that you're networked with, they see that, and whether or not that may not be a true reflection of who you are at that moment or even at the time, it does hinder the ability of you getting that potential job down the road, right?
Absolutely.
If you're going to be derogatory or racial or racist or whatever, it's going to affect you, whether or not it's meant to or as even a joke that maybe somebody might not get. So.
Absolutely. And I think now, I mean, it's so easy to just hit that send button or to post immediately. And, if you're saying stuff that you don't want people to find out about, then you just don't be saying it, say it to your close friends, right? And don't do it online.
It's kind of funny. I had a little conversation with my daughter here about social media and pictures and messages. And she's in grade 8. So, we weren't back then. We never had phones and didn't even have the internet to be able to go on and express ourselves. And if we were wanting to do something stupid, nobody could ever catch us. But nowadays, it's so important to be careful of who you trust and what you say, because it could turn around, years down the road and bite you in the butt. So.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I mean, people can take a screenshot of something that you've done and share it. So, I mean, it is just really a minefield. So you need to be careful.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, including myself, I do take pride in my jobs and whatnot, and taking pictures on site. And I have been, slapped on the wrist a few times. I know my job as an inspector, I take pictures of the job all over, and they're on my computer forever, and it's just my job because I have to take pictures. And when I've been on the other spectrum of being on the tool side and taking pictures of jobs that I've enjoyed doing and whatnot and posted, I've gotten in some flack here as well. So you really got to be careful. And it's not that I was meant to post or anything bad for safety wise or not. It's just a lot of companies are really, really stringent on sharing that kind of information of what they're doing, or whether or not even saying I've noticed myself, even with you said you were working for somewheres, a lot of people sometimes don't like that either, because, then they're going to get, how many thousands of other people's calling them to see if they have work as well. So sometimes boasting that you finally got that job or where you're working sometimes doesn't, go to your advantage, I find.
Yeah, well, and it's always good, especially if you're taking pictures at any site, just to ask your boss, hey, do you mind if I, I'm really proud of this. Do you mind if I take pictures? Because, I think, especially when you're doing it with no malicious intent, sometimes people can infer that there might be, like, what is he doing that for? There's people seem to be a bit suspicious when it comes to social media, and sometimes for good reasons. So
no, for sure, a lot of places you can't even have phones on site, and whether or not you can or can't, a lot of people still do it. So it's that's just nonetheless is something always to keep in mind here, to make sure you're aware of the conditions of what's going on for social media wise, taking pictures, how you're representing yourself out on site, because like you say, it could be a screenshot of a message, or you just making an ass of yourself in another town, out on the town there where you're working, to really cost you that job. So
yeah, keep it clean.
Good deal. So let's see if we can't get into showing us a little bit on your end on what it takes for the fundamentals for somebody just new out of the gate. Because I know, like I said here, a lot of people sometimes don't even know how to build a resume,
right?
Or even the first things. So maybe we can share your screen and kind of go over a little.
I'm going to let's see here. Okay, so I have can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just have this resume here. It's just, John Doe. And so, it doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, like, so for anyone who's listening, I'm not giving you this information in the hopes that you're going to contact me for work per se. What I'm trying to show you is that this is the kind of thing that might be coming across employers' desk. So if yours is not looking, like this is kind of neat. There's a little sidebar here. It's even shaded in. You can see the skills section, all the, no time lost to workplace injury, shipping and receiving, all the kind of, the great thing about these little sidebars is you can get all kinds of information in there in a pretty short space. Obviously, you have your name. If you have a little title or something that you can put down, equipment operator, material handler. If you've got a ticket in a trade and you're welder, I'd put welder down. Whatever the case may be, address and your contact, okay? And again, keep it all clean. Make sure you don't have a goofy email. Okay, and I've got professional experience here. So you saw that the one that Chad showed you, sometimes you can have a profile or an objective. Sometimes objectives are, really, why are you putting in a resume? It's kind of clear that you're looking for a job. So this is somebody, who maybe hasn't worked a lot. They're just, well, actually, there's a few jobs here. Professional experience. Again, I've always tried to put down some kind of a label. Heavy equipment operator, we've got that a few times. I'm just going to skim down here a little bit because if people have questions, it'd be good to answer. I always try and put some education in. So in this case, I do have the high school diploma down. If it's an old one like this, I probably wouldn't put in that date. It's not necessary, and that's a real trigger to how old somebody is. People usually graduate when they're 18. But if you've got, NATE, CDI, first year welding, computer maintenance technician, any kind of tickets that you have, obviously put them down. And sometimes, so this one goes over a little bit. So I actually probably would try to keep it to one page in this instance, and I would get rid of the references, or maybe I would snug it up a little bit because, again, if you're applying for a job and, if an employer has like, 50 resumes coming across and they're all 2-pagers, or they're just looking at them online, sometimes they're just really trying to get in and get out. So I might even just get rid of some of this white space a bit. And but what I would say, if you're just starting out and you don't have much history, you want to, most people have had some kind of a job, even if it's not a job in your field yet. Try to think of every single duty that you have done, because what happens is that things become very ordinary for us and we think, oh, well, that's stupid. Why would I put that down? But it's unique to that job, and it just gives you something to put down, right? So, within reason, you don't want to be goofy about it, but because sometimes you can just say that you're loyal, you're disciplined, you've always been on time, you've never had accidents, etc. So this would just be like one page. It's there's quite a bit of information, and Chad, you mentioned it might be overwhelming to look. I kind of like the shaded box that way. It does separate it a little bit. But you could also, like, this one's older too, 1988 to 1995. I'd probably just get rid of this one and move things up and just put references at the bottom just to keep it a little bit snugger. But it's very neat, and you can tell that it's all the margins match up, and it's clean, and it's basically, a resume is a piece of paper that represents you, and there's a lot going on here that shows the skills.
Just a little question there. Is it beneficial maybe to put a picture as well with you, or is that something that not a lot of people would?
Well, I know that you've got at Oilfield Dads, a lot of people are doing what do you call them? The visual resumes?
Yeah, video resumes, yeah, you betcha.
Video resumes. And so I think that kind of, that is very beneficial for people who are attractive and for people who are, the younger you are, well, sometimes within reason. And it's beneficial for people who do well on a camera and are, because I think that we're becoming more and more a visual culture. And so if you're comfortable with that, I wouldn't put a picture on my resume, on my paper resume, but I certainly can see the appeal in the video resumes. So maybe I'm old school about not putting a picture on, but that's I don't know.
I think that'll be the next step thing. A lot of people, like I say, are still old school type as well. That sending a resume out. I know a lot of people like to go and hand deliver these resumes, and I've heard a lot of feedback where they've hand delivered these resumes and they've ended up turning around and saying, well, I'd rather you apply online. So a lot of people get frustrated. Well, why would I apply online? You don't even know who I am, right? If I come here and actually meet you person to person, that's a more personable experience, and maybe you'll remember, that person that come in rather than the email that you sent and tried to follow up 3 or 4 times within the week of hundreds that have already been sent in. So.
Yeah, well, I think that because of the internet, I think people, like when I was first starting out, I had to go to the place, I had to walk in, I had to hand in a resume, and that on a good day that was fine. On a bad day, it felt horribly demoralizing. I think now people are more and more finding job sources online, and then with that is the page where you can just upload the resume. So I think just like people sometimes would prefer to text and talk, I think we're kind of in that same field with resumes and with job hunting as well.
Are you still screen sharing here, Teresa?
I don't. Oh, I have to come back. Do I? Oh, yeah. Let me get out.
There you go.
Am I back? Ah, there I am.
There you go. So let's. So that was great information. I appreciate that. So when we come into, like I said, I'll jump in and share a little bit of my screen again here, just to go over the.
So I just want to say too, like, so that. I mean, it's like in the industry, you try and use the proper tool for the job, right? And it's the same thing. Like I wouldn't hire a plumber to write my resume, and I also wouldn't hire a writer to fix my plumbing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So writing is not everybody is comfortable doing it. It's sometimes very worthwhile paying someone to do it for you, just to alleviate the stress of having to do it yourself. Or if you have family members, siblings, mother-in-law, a wife, husband, or something who can help you edit, then that's great. But it really is essential that you have somebody look at your resume before you send it out, because other people can spot errors that you've likely missed.
Oh, for sure. I think it could be very overwhelming for a lot of people, because like if you can see my screen share right now, even on a Microsoft Word, we got all this stuff up here, and I don't think a lot of people that are computer savvy, what font to use, what's type of the font size and whatnot, and how to structure. I think a lot of people, and even my age as well as even older is. I might as well pay somebody. So the best thing to do would be just to jot down, instead of trying to figure out something like this, well, what am I good at? I can run equipment, just start writing down in here, but I'm not worrying about your spelling and all that. Run equipment, I've been pipeline, say 18 years. Kind of that kind of stuff, and start brainstorming. I think it's a big thing of what you can do. So you run crews before, testing. That doesn't have to be all in order. You just start brainstorming. That's the biggest thing to start when you're building a resume, I think, right? Is to really get what you're good.
Absolutely.
Testing, lowering in pipe, whether or not you worked in rough terrain.
So,
go ahead.
For me, what happens is that people will often send me their draft of a resume or their old resume and say, I know this is outdated and it's not very professional. I'd like something better. And then there's a process of back and forth. So I'll draft something and then I'll send it to them, because the thing is, I might be a professional writer, but I'm not a professional in whatever industry my client is working for. So I have to make sure that the client looks to make sure I'm using the proper industry lingo, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So it really is a back and forth, because a resume represents you, and you want to be happy with that. So there's an editing process between you and the client to make sure that everything, I haven't oversold and I haven't undersold. And also, finally, too, be honest on your resume. Don't make claims about things that you don't have experience for. It's just not worth it. So make sure that you're representing yourself honestly.
For sure, there's a lot of people that try to fake it till you make it, and I know that. And granted too, though, because if you don't say that you haven't done it too, though, you may never get that opportunity. And but like, you probably could handle that if you're given that opportunity. Whether or not saying you just come out to a position on a pipeline and you're new, and you can say that you can run a boom, you're going to find out right away, and the people are going to find out right away that you don't know what you're doing. So if you have been around it and in the industry, and you've have given the opportunity to be able to be in that position, you can say you've whether or not I've run boom for a couple jobs. That way you're honest, but you've also been knowing that you're willing to learn, right?
Exactly. You can say how mechanically inclined you are. Oh, I've got this very echo now.
Oh.
So yeah, you can say you're mechanically inclined. You can list all the equipment that you've done. You can say that you're interested in learning and expanding your skills. Am I still echoing? I am, yeah. How about now? Can you hear me? But I can't hear you.
Well, because I pushed mute just to see if I could stop the echo. So,
but I'm still hearing the echo.
Are you?
That's weird. Yes.
Oh no! It just started, did it?
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, well, I know that sometimes I've done that as well, and it's kind of hard to concentrate on what you're talking about when you hear yourself lapse a few seconds behind.
Well, as long as other people don't hear the echo, I can keep talking. But
yeah, I don't hear an echo.
Do people have questions? You think?
I'm looking here, and just I haven't seen any questions come yet. I'm going to look into the web or into the Facebook site. People are liking what I've put here. I think even as well that 253 people viewed the resume live. So I think a lot of people are confused, maybe, as well as this online workshop and what it really entails, what they have to put in, and this, like we're going to this resume live tends to be a little more, say, socially acceptable. It's almost like they don't have to commit, but they can scroll by and look and watch for a bit and tune in, tune out. Because I know a lot of my friends on here do a lot of Facebook Lives, and which is great. But in the end here, is it what you want in the end game, I guess, if you're sitting here, wanting to answer questions and whatnot. I think we can do another one down the road here, maybe just a resume live on in Facebook. Just to give people a taste, because I know I spent quite a bit of money to put this platform together to utilize, but a lot of people are maybe just uncertain of it.
Well, I think what you started out by saying that as the year ends, people might want to have a resume in place for the new year, just to get organized. think about where they want to be and to have something professional in place. So whether or not they want to use YMF writing services or to just set that goal for themselves, it's a good time to have it ready for January 1st.
Exactly. I know myself here, I am booked tomorrow. I'm going to be actually up in Edmonton at the Legislative Building here to do a little public speaking here on behalf of the no carbon tax little thing that we got going on. I was invited anyways, and yesterday, I don't know if you heard that I was on CBC Toronto.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, so I'll send you a link here, you can watch. So I've been on the news here, like you say, over the last year, promoting oilfield dads and giving them an insight of what I've been through and whatnot. And I know a lot of people maybe just see me as a figurehead of being an oilfield dad and not going through necessarily the hardship times as everybody else. And that's, I myself, just a little back here to get off topic a bit, was I did have to let go of a work vehicle to go back to the dealership just so I could use that payment to continue on making payments to keep a roof over my head for now. Because I always know I can buy another truck down the road or rent a vehicle to go to work or whatnot. So I know a lot of people hold on to these possessions that they've acquired over the years and worked so hard, and then they feel defeated if they got to let them go in fear of their credit or whatnot. But you're not the only ones out there that are alone. Are going through this. There's a lot of people that have to start all over again, and I think that's what makes people stronger in the end. Is going through these trials. I know a lot of people can put it in your face that you should have saved or this or that, and well, that wasn't the choice or that wasn't the case in this 2-year-long recession that we've had. And some people have been able to scathe through it barely, and some people have really had to get out of the industry. And I've noticed over the last month here now, a lot of companies are pushing for guys to come to work, and they're having a hard time trying to find guys because they can't guarantee anything more than just till Christmas or whatnot. So why are they going to leave where they're at to make a quick buck and then to be on their ass again? So that's a lot of these companies are not wanting to hire oil field personnel because they know as soon as they get that call, they're gone. And that's not fair to that employer that took a chance on them as well. So a lot of people I've found have tended to walk away from the industry, but also there's still the people, the diehards, even like myself. I'm still young enough. I've went through 2 of them already, these recessions, and I'll be damned if I can go through another one. But they always say the big famous thing is, I pray to God that there's another oil boom, and I pray that I won't piss it away this time. But I think another thing is almost, I think we could get into, after helping build resumes, which is grateful and valuable for the group, but also learning how to sell their story. I do have another guest there, an individual that helps people sell their story, because everybody's got a story, right? And the thing is, it's called a campfire effect. Everybody can sit around a campfire and bullshit with their friends and family, and you ever hear about that one story that you can get so involved in and make everybody believable about it? That is a story that you want to make your life of what you can do and sell yourself. So I have somebody that's going to be able to help us down the road here in another online workshop as such as this, to give people that empowerment and to really start writing their own story. I think that's very powerful, and finding out who you are and gaining that confidence and really developing your set of skills as far as sociably and professionally, I think. So.
Absolutely. And I think too that even though you might have just had a life in the trades and whatnot, like even if you're thinking of maybe going in a new direction, every work experience you've had is valuable. And I think that's where a good cover letter comes in, because a good cover letter can speak to the work that you've done, but also the overall skills that made you successful in that work that are highly transferable, because many of us are having to reimagine ourselves. And I think that that's the new reality of a workforce as well, especially in an industry that's a lot more uncertain now. So we're having to reimagine ourselves. So I guess I would say apply to jobs, even if you don't feel that you're fully qualified for them, and a good cover letter can sometimes get you get you a look, because I think people are looking to hire interesting people as well, you know?
I think actually where you're saying there, the good cover letter comes into play is that, say you do have all this experience and you're just throwing resumes out, and you know maybe that job, they may or may not want to hire you, but a good cover letter can say just as simple as, hey, I'm an oil field worker of so many years, but even though I'm an oil field worker, I have a family of such and such and still trying to put food on the table. I'm really strong, reliable, and I know that you know, I may be seem overqualified in some to maybe do this job, but I'll guarantee you that you know, you will find another person more devoted and doing a more professional job than anybody else. So give yourself the benefit of the doubt when you're giving these emails or sending these resumes out, to just put that little extra effort in there. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, I've sent out thousands of resumes and never got a recurring call. And I can understand the frustration when a person says, you know, I've emailed 23 companies today and never heard nothing back. Well, did you take the time to write a little blurb there to say, hey, you know what, I've been, you know, this is my such resume I've put out, and I've really been trying. Really take the time, because all you got to do in the day anyways is try to find a job. And you know, the great thing about the internet too is you don't have to go outside your door half the time to apply for a job anymore. So you can apply for 20 some jobs without even leaving your house. So.
Well, and I think too that, I mean, a job posting always lists the ideal candidate. They don't always find the ideal candidate. So sometimes what is listed there, if you don't have some of those things, that doesn't mean that they're going to find someone who has all those things. Also, if you think about looking for a job, if you've sent out thousands of resumes or whatever, and nobody has called you, I would say it's well worth your while to hire someone to look at your resume, because it's kind of like not renting to somebody and having your house sit empty for 6 months because you're wanting a certain sum of money, and then you lose all that revenue. So it's you know, getting a job is important. Sometimes spending $100 to have somebody check out what you've done, because sometimes there's a pretty obvious reason why. Maybe you're not representing yourself as well as you think you are. So invest in yourself.
Exactly, and I think that is the motto here that I've tried to put here tonight on the webinars: invest in yourself. A lot of people, they want that job or figure, you know, how many times have you had to get safety tickets updated? How much does it cost you? How many times do you look at the job that you're going to? How much does it cost you to go to work? But then when it turns around to buying courses or stuff like this, or to update your resume or get somebody to look at it, they're a little hesitant on spending that kind of money. Well, you got to understand, you have to invest into yourself, and it's not necessarily paying somebody and a bunch of money for nothing that's going to help you out. Because I know a lot of people, they will buy into, say, building a resume professionally done, you know, and even though it does not guarantee you that job, but I guarantee you this, that it helps your chances, because, you know, having somebody that has been doing this for a lot, like you mentioned before, in the business for so long, and looking for what people look at, to oversee your resume and pick out some keywords that these recruiters may be looking for, will be that time that your $300 resume or whatever will be the one that gets you that job. So always invest in yourself.
Yeah, people spend a lot of money on their education quite often, and then they get cheap. So don't cheap out before you get that good resume that shows all you've done.
There's one little tidbit here. I got a call to go to work here, was yesterday, and I have my CWB level 1 certification, but I took it a couple of years ago and I never needed it, but it was something that I had the money for. It's $2,295 to get your level 1, and I went and got it. And you need to have it recertified every 2 years. Well, in the last 2 years, I never needed it. And I never needed it any years before that. It's just a lot of these courses that people want you to take to be more competent and more, so liability issues. That way you are, say, oh, I do have this ticket. I am qualified and competent to you know, inspect this piece of pipe or do this job. And you know, at this moment here, you know, that's a pretty big chunk of change here, and I did not have that updated, so I didn't get that job. But it just goes to show that people are looking for people that are continuously in trying to invest in themselves. So whether or not you're sitting there on the sidelines thinking, you know what, for prime example, the last recession, I went back to school and upgraded and went and got my pipe fitting ticket. And I always thought to myself when I was working, I could never, I always wanted to get this. I always wanted to get this. I was frustrated to see this younger person come into the field that's already got their ticket and making more than myself. And you always wondered, well, I can't afford to take the time off because I'll lose out on all this money. Until you're forced to have the time off and forced to utilize what you have and your savings and find the resourcefulness of whether or not finding grants. Government grants will help you get into these courses and loans and whatever it takes. Always invest into yourself. And that's the big key here from tonight, people. Don't cheap out. That's why I brought Teresa here, and I appreciate you coming out here. We're at the top of the hour. I just wanted to say thank you for coming out here. Because it means a lot. It takes out of your time, out of my time to help everybody else. And what we can take away from tonight is whether or not you've built a resume or not, or looking for a new job or not, there's a lot of good key elements that we've talked about tonight. Somebody that could utilize your services, you can, after this presentation here, we get off, you can private message me and I can forward you the information herself or to Teresa here to be able to get you on the right track. And I'm pretty sure she'll be more than glad to help you out. And I know myself here included, I want to try to make this a regular occurrence, whether or not it's once a week or once a month, but always keep it, valuable. As long as people are interested in watching and in being involved, I'll be interested in giving you guys some feedback and help you out. I know with my platform, oilfielddads.com, that's the platform where I want to be able to give people the ability to showcase what they've built and their businesses and or the training center for everybody to learn and utilize that. So I encourage you guys, if you're not already part of oilfielddads.com, go and sign up. It is free to upload your resume and learn how to build your online video resume. It is a paid subscription, but once again, if you don't invest into yourself, you'll never know. And everybody's got to understand that our time and everybody else's time is not free, but you've got to learn how to invest in yourself to be better for who you want to be.
Right on. Well, I wish everybody well and happy holidays, everyone. And I wish you success in whatever field that you're in.
Appreciate you coming out, Teresa, again. I very much appreciate it. And as my partner just said here, I'm not babysitting, parenting. Well, Mama's up, so looks like I got to do some of my parenting duties. So take care, everybody. Happy holidays. If you don't hear from me again, and I will try to post a replay in the group so you can take a look at what we went through. And if you're interested, drop a line to me, and I will be sure to get it off to Teresa, and we'll go from there. So once again, thanks again. Oilfield Dads Hangout is now over.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye now.